Hello. Open up your George Washington notes and go to the slide that says Great Man Theory. And the action of certain great men, which are leaders, have determined history. Okay? Determined history is what you need to fill in. Going to the second bullet, Thomas Carlyle wrote that the history of the world is but the biography of great men. Fill in the biography of great men. For instance, if you read a biography of George Washington, you could pretty much understand the War for Independence. If you read a biography of Ulysses Grant, you could pretty much understand the Civil War. Last bullet, if the hero had not acted the way he did, events would have turned out dramatically different. Here's an example for you. What if your dad never met your mom? Well, there would be no you, of course. Okay, history would be dramatically different for you. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Here are characteristics of the great man theory, of the people who fit it. They are usually men. Larger than life is the next thing to fill in. Larger than life. Mythical. They get all the credits. Okay? Let me give you some examples of these. Larger than life. Someone's larger than life. For instance, if I get a speeding ticket tonight, you're never going to know about it unless you happen to drive by and see me. But if Andrew Luck gets a speeding ticket, it's going to be all over the news because everything he does is larger than life. Mythical. People in the great man theory have mythical qualities. People make up stories about them. For instance, there's a story that Abe Lincoln once walked 5 miles to return a pen that he had borrowed from somebody. Probably not true. Probably what is true is that he was going to town to run errands or something, and he decided while he was there he was going to return the pen to his friend, and it probably wasn't 5 miles. Okay? George Washington had wooden teeth. No, that is a lie. They just wanted George Washington to sound like an average guy to make people feel good. Probably you've heard about Michael Jordan jumping from the free throw line and dunking. Probably in 100 years, people will say Michael Jordan took off from half court and can dunk, which of course we all know is totally impossible. All right, examples which I already gave you. George Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln are all presidents that fit the great man theory. Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement hits the great man theory. Queen Elizabeth for England, and that's an example of a woman that fits the great man theory. For the French, Napoleon definitely fits the great man theory. You know, if all of these people had not done what they did, history would be dramatically different for all those countries. Now, the one thing that's really great about college is that you'll see that everything isn't just black and white like a lot of classes here are in middle school. In college, they try to show you theories, and you'll say, oh, that theory makes a lot of sense. But then they'll show you someone who totally does not believe that theory, and they have an opposite theory. And there is an opposite theory to this. Some people say that heroes are just in the right place at the right time. Fill in the right place at the right time. And I can give you an example of this. When I was in 8th grade, a neighbor of mine was going to a family reunion. He was going to be the only kid, so he talked me into going with him so he wouldn't be all by himself. Well, it was